Nickelodeon stars made millions laugh while they were still teenagers. By 2026, many paid a heavy price. From cheating rumors to cosmetic surgery and silent exile from Hollywood, this is where they are now. And the transformations will shock you. Amanda Bynes as the star of The Amanda Show. Amanda Bynes became famous as the uncontested face of The Amanda Show. At only 13 years old, she took center stage as the show's star. Week after week, her characters carried entire episodes, pushing the series to ratings dominance and multiple Kids' Choice Awards. That breakout didn't just make her popular, it made her singular. Nickelodeon trusted her to lead an entire sketch series alone at an age when most child actors were still background players. And the gamble paid off with record ratings and repeated Kids' Choice wins. The confidence she built there translated directly to film. What a Girl Wants confirmed she could anchor a theatrical release, while She's the Man and later Easy A proved she could pivot from innocent comedy to sharp. By her early 20s, she had done what few child stars ever manage: command television, cross into box office success, and then deliberately subvert her own image, until the momentum abruptly fractured. Beginning in 2012, Amanda's mental health struggles escalated into substance abuse, legal trouble, and hospitalizations. Romantic relationships remained unstable, including her engagement to Paul Michael in 2020, which later ended without marriage, while legal trouble escalated into a court-ordered conservatorship from 2013 to 2022. During that period, autonomy vanished, finances froze, and public perception hardened. Substance abuse and bipolar disorder dominated her 20s and 30s, leaving long gaps filled with her shocking appearance transformation. After the conservatorship ended, attempts at re-entry surfaced briefly, including a short-lived podcast effort in 2023, then faded again. Now, at 40 years old, Amanda lives largely outside the entertainment industry, focused on personal stability and design interests rather than performance. Her estimated net worth remains around $6 million, a residual echo of early success achieved too fast to protect the person behind it. Ariana Grande as Cat Valentine. Ariana Grande became famous as Cat Valentine, the wide-eyed, bubble-voiced redhead on Victorious, and later Sam and Cat. At just 16 years old, she brought the emotional pulse of the series, helping turn Victorious into a cultural hit with millions of weekly viewers. To the audience, Ariana looked harmless and carefree, but the persona was already hiding a life moving far faster than anyone realized. While Cat Valentine fixed her face in pop culture, Ariana was already laying a second track, viral vocal covers, a Republic Records deal, and a debut album that went straight to #1 while the show was still fresh in viewers' minds. In a span most child stars never survive, she stacked firsts, chart-topping albums, repeated Hot 100 debuts, and a swift return to prestige acting with Wicked. Off-screen, however, Ariana's life followed a much darker arc. She endured profound psychological trauma following the 2017 Manchester concert bombing, an event that left her struggling with PTSD and anxiety for years. Her personal relationships became public battlegrounds, a whirlwind engagement, the death of a former partner, and a quiet marriage to Dalton Gomez that ended in divorce by 2023. By her own admission, therapy became a constant. Today, she is 33 years old, no longer a Nickelodeon star, but a global powerhouse navigating a more controlled, selective phase of her career. She continues to balance music, acting, and business ventures, including her beauty empire, while preparing new projects and tours on her own terms. With an estimated net worth of around $250 million, Ariana Grande remains one of the most striking transformations in modern pop culture. Kenan Thompson as Kenan Rockmore. Kenan Thompson became famous as Kenan Rockmore, the fast-talking schemer at the heart of Nickelodeon's Kenan and Kel. He was just 18 years old when the show premiered and turned him into a household name. The character's energy, timing, and chemistry defined an era of youth television and made the series one of Nickelodeon's most enduring hits. For many viewers, Kenan wasn't just funny. He was familiar. After Kenan and Kel and Good Burger, Kenan did what almost no child comedian had managed. He survived the transition into adulthood without losing relevance. His move to Saturday Night Live in 2003 changed the trajectory of his career, where he quietly became the backbone of the show, setting records for longevity, sketch appearances, and celebrity impressions. Over time, his consistency earned him an Emmy. Behind the scenes, stability came at a cost. Kenan's marriage to Christina Evangeline ended in divorce in 2022 after more than a decade, leaving him to co-parent their 2 daughters while maintaining a relentless work schedule. In 2024, he revealed a diagnosis of GERD, forcing him to confront health limitations rarely discussed in comedy circles built on endurance and late nights. Now, Kenan is 48, still anchored at Saturday Night Live while expanding into producing and memoir writing. With an estimated net worth of about $9 million, his legacy isn't built on a single role, but on longevity. Emma Roberts as Addie Singer. Emma Roberts became widely known as Addie Singer, the awkward, overthinking teenage girl at the center of Nickelodeon's Unfabulous. She was only 13 years old when she stepped into the role and carried the series on her shoulders, helping the show secure strong ratings and a loyal audience over 3 seasons. That role gave her leverage. Unfabulous proved she could lead a series alone, release a soundtrack album tied to the show. She used that credibility to transition into film, opening family movies like Aquamarine and Nancy Drew, then deliberately pivoting toward darker, riskier material. By the time she reached her early 20s, she had broken away from the Nickelodeon mold, earning recognition as a modern scream queen through American Horror Story and Scream Queens, a shift that rebranded her from Nepo baby curiosity into a performer willing to weaponize her lineage rather than hide from it. Her personal life, however, unfolded far less cleanly. Emma's long, volatile relationship with Evan Peters, marked by public incidents, separations, and a broken engagement, kept her private struggles under a microscope. Later, her relationship with Garrett Hedlund ended in 2022 shortly after the birth of their son, leaving her to navigate motherhood and career reinvention alone. She has never remarried, choosing privacy over spectacle as her public image matured. Today, Emma is 35, balancing acting with producing through her company Bellatrist TV, while continuing selective screen work. Her estimated net worth of around $25 million reflects a career built on early exposure, calculated reinvention, and a refusal to remain frozen in the role that first made her famous. Keke Palmer, as True Jackson. Keke Palmer became widely known as True Jackson, the teenage girl suddenly promoted to vice president of a fashion company in Nickelodeon's True Jackson, VP. She was only 15 years old when she stepped into the role and became the face of the series. Her performance turned the show into one of Nickelodeon's most distinctive late 2000s hits. That role did more than make Keke famous. It marked her as an early exception. While most child stars were boxed into comedy, she wrote and performed the show's theme song, approved real-world fashion lines tied to the series, and became one of the highest-paid young performers on television. Instead of fading out, she expanded outward. Broadway's Cinderella, a historic hosting role on daytime TV, and later a sharp pivot into adult film and prestige projects. By the time she appeared in Hustlers and then Nope, critics no longer spoke of reinvention but of inevitability. She had quietly built the range to move wherever she wanted. Her personal life, however, became a public reckoning. In 2023, her breakup with Darius Jackson exploded into headlines involving allegations of emotional abuse and legal filings, followed by a difficult period of co-parenting their son, Leodius. At the same time, she spoke openly about anxiety, depression, and long-standing health struggles, reframing vulnerability as part of her authority rather than a weakness. Now, Keke is 33 years old, balancing acting, hosting, music, and entrepreneurship while maintaining fierce control over her narrative. With an estimated net worth of about $7.5 million, her career no longer hinges on a single role, but on resilience. Miranda Cosgrove as Carly Shay. Miranda became iconic as Carly Shay, the inventive teenager behind a homemade web show on Nickelodeon's iCarly. She was just 14 years old when she stepped into the role and helped define a generation raised on the internet. The series didn't just succeed, it dominated youth television, turning early digital culture into mainstream entertainment. That success gave Miranda unusual leverage. While iCarly broke ratings records, she simultaneously launched a music career, voiced a lead character in the Despicable Me franchise, and became the highest-paid child actor on television by 2012. Unlike many peers, she didn't disappear. She slowed down, chose education, and later returned as both star and executive producer of iCarly's revival, reclaiming ownership of the role that made her famous. However, her off-screen life was marked by disruption. A serious tour bus accident in 2011 left her with lasting injuries and forced a pause at the height of her fame. She never married and has remained intensely private, navigating stalking incidents and recovery far from tabloid spectacle. Now, Miranda is 33 years old, working selectively in film and television while hosting science-focused programming and continuing voice work. With an estimated net worth of about $8 million, her legacy isn't built on chaos or reinvention, but on control, timing, and survival in an industry that rarely rewards restraint. Victoria Justice as Tori Vega. Victoria rose to prominence as Tori Vega, the talented newcomer suddenly admitted to an elite performing arts high school in Nickelodeon's Victorious. She was only 17 years old when she took on the role and became the center of the series. For a generation of viewers, Tori Vega symbolized possibility rather than rebellion. Unlike many of her peers, long before Victorious, she had already spent years learning the rhythm of television on Zoe 101. The show's success turned her into a household name, but also fixed her image in a carefully polished mold, gifted, agreeable, and controversy-free. After Nickelodeon, she moved deliberately into darker and more restrained projects like Eye Candy and later The Tutor. Her personal life remained notably private. Briefly linked to actor Reeve Carney, she chose distance over drama. Today, Victoria is 33, working selectively across film and music, no longer chasing momentum, but shaping longevity. With an estimated net worth of about $12 million, her career stands as an example of restraint. Proof that sometimes survival in Hollywood comes not from chaos, but from control. Josh Peck, as Josh Nichols. Josh became instantly recognizable as Josh Nichols, the awkward, fast-talking teenager forever caught between intelligence and insecurity on Nickelodeon's Drake and Josh. At just 17 years old, he stepped into the role that would define his early career, carrying something real, self-awareness wrapped in humor in the series. Behind the laughs, Josh Peck was already fighting private battles. His weight struggles were visible on screen, and his dramatic transformation during the show's run became a public spectacle before he was ready to explain it. Long after Drake and Josh ended, he revealed deeper issues with addiction and self-worth, admitting that food and drugs had once been tools to numb emotional pain. However, sobriety, achieved in his early 20s, quietly became the foundation of his adult life. He moved into voice acting, independent films, comedy, and eventually mainstream recognition with roles like Oppenheimer. At the same time, he reshaped his public image through podcasting and digital media, turning honesty into currency rather than liability. Now Josh is 40 years old, married, a father of 3, and grounded in a life far removed from the chaos of his early fame. With an estimated net worth of about $6 million, his story isn't about peak success, but about endurance, recovery, and learning how to outgrow the version of yourself the world refuses to forget. Jennette McCurdy as Sam Puckett. Jennette became unforgettable as Sam Puckett, the sharp-tongued, fearless counterweight in Nickelodeon's iCarly. She was just 15 years old when she stepped into the role and helped anchor the show's breakout success. Sam wasn't written to be safe or sweet. She was volatile, funny, and unapologetic. For millions of viewers, that edge felt real. Behind the scenes, the cost was staggering. Jennette later revealed years of psychological control and abuse by her mother, pressure that fueled anorexia, bulimia, and later alcohol dependence. While Sam projected power on screen, Jennette was tightly monitored off-camera, dieted, isolated, and emotionally controlled. She also disclosed being placed in compromising situations at Nickelodeon and rejecting a reported six-figure offer to stay silent, choosing autonomy over protection. When Sam and Kat ended, the break wasn't strategic. It was survival. By 2018, Jennette walked away from acting entirely, publicly admitting she felt ashamed of most of her resume. Therapy, sobriety, and distance from Hollywood became non-negotiable, marking a clean rupture from the industry that raised her. Today, Jennette is 34, living outside the spotlight and focused on writing. Her memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, redefined her legacy, turning personal trauma into cultural reckoning. With an estimated net worth of about $5 million, her story proves that leaving fame can be an act of control, not collapse. Jamie Lynn Spears as Zoe Brooks. Jamie Lynn rose to fame as Zoe Brooks, the calm center of Nickelodeon's Zoe 101. She was only 13 years old when the series premiered and quickly became one of the network's most recognizable teen leads. The show dominated youth ratings, earned award nominations, and positioned Zoe as a role model built on kindness and emotional intelligence. That momentum, however, collided with reality. In late 2007, Jamie Lynn's pregnancy at 16 detonated her image overnight, triggering media frenzy and public judgment rarely directed at male counterparts. Although Zoe 101 had already finished filming, the narrative hardened, her career paused, endorsements vanished, and she disappeared from the spotlight just as her fame peaked. Motherhood reshaped everything. Jamie Lynn withdrew from acting for years, raising her daughter away from Hollywood while navigating criticism, financial pressure, and relentless association with her sister's larger-than-life fame. She later rebuilt quietly, returning through country music, then television, and eventually reclaiming Zoe in the 2023 sequel, this time as an adult and an executive producer. In 2026, Jamie Lynn is 35, balancing family life with steady acting work, most notably on Sweet Magnolias. Married and raising two daughters, she has reshaped her public identity on her own timeline. With an estimated net worth of about $6 million, her arc reflects interruption rather than failure, proof that early fame doesn't end a story, it only complicates it. Kel Mitchell as Kel Kimball. Kel Mitchell became unforgettable as Kel Kimball, the wildly energetic half of Nickelodeon's Kenan and Kel. He was only 18 years old when he took on the role, and his exaggerated innocence, elastic expressions, and obsession with orange soda quickly turned him into a defining face of 1990s children's television. That momentum was built on proof, not hype. Before Kenan and Kel had already broken out on All That, where his Ed sketch became so popular it was expanded into Good Burger. Very few teen performers managed that leap from sketch comedy to theatrical film while still a teenager. Good Burger achieved cult status, cemented his brand of physical comedy, and earned him industry recognition, including a Cable Ace Award. Off-screen, his life unraveled quietly. A difficult divorce in 2005 coincided with financial strain and career instability, pushing Kel into a period of depression and self-doubt. He later spoke about turning to Christian faith during this collapse, describing it as the anchor that kept him from losing everything. In 2012, he remarried Asia Lee, rebuilding his life around family and purpose rather than fame. Now, Kel Mitchell is 48 years old, working selectively as an actor, host, writer, and pastor, far removed from the chaos of early stardom. He appears by choice, not necessity, focusing on stability over visibility. His estimated net worth of around $500,000 reflects a career shaped more by cultural impact than long-term financial protection. Elizabeth Gillies as Jade West. She rose to prominence as Jade West, the sharp-tongued gothic anti-hero of Nickelodeon's Victorious. Elizabeth was just 16 years old when she stepped into the role, instantly standing apart from the network's usual bubbly leads. Jade wasn't designed to be likable, and that was the point. The character's darkness, sarcasm, and emotional volatility made her magnetic. What followed was a rare kind of breakout. Jade West proved that a female teen character could be abrasive, complex, and still beloved, influencing how Nickelodeon wrote Mean Girls afterward. Gillies backed that impact with tangible results, charting soundtrack singles like Take a Hint, voice work on Winx Club, and a seamless pivot into adult television with Dynasty, where she carried multiple seasons as Fallon Carrington. In 2020, she married music producer Michael Corcoran, choosing stability over spectacle, and drawing a firm boundary between career and private life. Now, Elizabeth Gillies is 33 years old, continuing to work across television, music, and stage on her own terms. She balances acting with selective musical projects, no longer tied to the teen star machine that launched her. With an estimated net worth of about $4 million, her career stands as a case of controlled evolution, quiet, strategic, and intact. Avan Jogia as Beck Oliver. Avan Jogia became widely known as Beck Oliver, the effortlessly cool presence in Nickelodeon's Victorious. He was 18 years old when he joined the series, instantly standing out not through loud comedy, but through restraint and confidence. That contrast made the character quietly influential. The impact showed in what followed. Victorious gave Avan visibility, but he refused to stay boxed in as a teen heartthrob. He moved deliberately into darker, adult material, Twisted, Tut, and especially Now Apocalypse, where his work leaned into vulnerability, sexuality, and surrealism. At the same time, he expanded beyond acting, directing short films, publishing poetry, founding the LGBTQ+ organization Straight But Not Narrow, and building a parallel identity as a writer and activist. His personal life remained notably stable by comparison. After several long-term relationships, Avan became engaged to singer Halsey in 2024, keeping the relationship largely private and away from manufactured drama. Now, Avan Jogia is 34 years old, working selectively as an actor, author, director, and musician, choosing projects for meaning rather than momentum. He continues to write, release music with St. Ivory, and develop independent film work. His estimated net worth of around $3 million reflects a career built on creative range rather than franchise dependency. Leon Thomas III as Andre Harris. He became famous as Andre Harris, the musical backbone of Nickelodeon's Victorious. Leon Thomas III was only 16 years old when he stepped into the role, already carrying years of Broadway training behind him. Andre wasn't comic relief. He was competence, discipline, and talent inside a chaotic teen world. However, what shocked many viewers came after the show ended. Leon didn't chase acting fame. He pivoted into music and won. As part of the production duo The Rascals, he co-wrote and produced for Ariana Grande, Drake, SZA, Rick Ross, Babyface, and Toni Braxton. The proof was undeniable. A Grammy win for SZA's Snooze, followed by his own breakthrough as a solo artist with Mutt, which charted on Billboard and earned multiple Grammy nominations and wins. Today, Leon Thomas III is 33 years old, operating at the intersection of music, songwriting, and selective acting. He releases records on his own terms, collaborates with top-tier artists, and continues building long-term credibility in the industry. He remains single, with his identity defined more by output than publicity. His estimated net worth of about $5 million reflects a rare trajectory: quiet discipline, delayed spotlight, and sustained respect. Nathan Kress as Freddie Benson. Nathan Kress became globally recognizable as Freddie Benson, the tech-obsessed backbone of Nickelodeon's iCarly. He was just 14 years old when he stepped into the role, carrying the responsibility of the show's entire technical world on his shoulders. Without him, iCarly didn't function, and audiences knew it. The proof came fast and consistently. iCarly exploded into one of Nickelodeon's most-watched series worldwide, earning Kress multiple Young Artist Award nominations and locking his image into a generation's memory. More importantly, he avoided stagnation. He expanded into voice acting, Star Wars Rebels, directing, Henry Danger, and returned with full control in the iCarly revival. His personal life remained steady and notably drama-free. In 2015, Nathan married London Elise Moore, and together they built a private family life away from industry chaos. He became a father of 3, choosing stability and routine over chasing constant visibility or tabloid relevance. By 2026, Nathan Kress is 34 years old, balancing acting, directing, podcasting, and family life. He works selectively, returning to familiar ground only when it serves him creatively. His estimated net worth of about $1.5 million reflects a career built on longevity, not burnout. Devon Werkheiser as Ned Bigby. Devon Werkheiser rose to fame as Ned Bigby, the hyper-organized survival strategist of Nickelodeon's Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. He was only 13 years old when he took on the role, anchoring an entire series almost entirely through narration and presence. The series became a cult hit, and Devon followed it with Shredderman rules, positioning him as a clear Nickelodeon lead. But once the network's spotlight faded, the momentum didn't translate financially. Unlike peers who transitioned into long-running franchises, Devon faced the quieter reality of reduced roles, inconsistent work, and public acknowledgement of money struggles after Nickelodeon, a shock to many fans. Today, Devon Werkheiser is 35 years old, working as an actor, musician, and podcast host, including revisiting his past through the Ned's Declassified podcast Survival Guide. His estimated net worth of around $250,000 reflects the harsh reality many child stars face: fame early, but no guarantees after. Lindsay Shaw as Mose. Lindsay Shaw became unforgettable as Jennifer Mose Mosley, the hyper-intelligent, rule-breaking brain of Nickelodeon's Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. She was only 15 years old when she took on the role, yet Mose quickly emerged as the show's secret weapon, strategic, sarcastic, and always 2 steps ahead. That balance made Mose iconic rather than cartoonish. After Ned's Declassified, Lindsay moved directly into prime teen television, leading 10 Things I Hate About You, and later landing a defining role as Paige McCullers on Pretty Little Liars. Paige became one of the show's most debated characters, central to a groundbreaking same-sex storyline that drew both praise and backlash. For a former Nickelodeon star, that leap from kids' comedy to emotionally charged teen drama was fast and risky. Off-screen, however, the cost was real. Lindsay later admitted to struggling with Adderall addiction and a disordered relationship with food during her Pretty Little Liars years. The pressure culminated in her being fired from the show, a moment she described publicly as both humiliating and necessary. Now Lindsay Shaw is 37 years old, no longer chasing constant visibility, but staying connected through acting, podcasting, and revisiting her past on her own terms. She remains single, focused on stability and recovery rather than reinvention theatrics. Her estimated net worth of around $2 million reflects a career that hit hard early, fractured publicly, and survived through honesty rather than denial. Fame came fast for these Nickelodeon stars, and time changed everything. Some found stability, others disappeared, and a few are still redefining who they are in 2026. So where did